Love. Love is a topic that I've been trying to avoid for pretty much all my life. I'll use it on my YouTube channel. I'll use it, with people that I talk to. I'll tell them, hey, I love you, man, blah, blah. I'm not saying that those are lies, because I do understand love now more than I ever did before. But there's something that I realized along the way, and that was I was never properly taught how to love. And I'm not putting this on my parents. My parents probably, my mother and father were old school. They grew up in the 30s and 40s. They probably never heard the words "I love you" at all, I imagine. As far as I know, my grandparents were loving, but, they provided. It's a different era. Nowadays we smother people with the word "I love you," but what I'm getting at is I don't think I was ever properly taught how to love someone or what love really meant. I think I was taught that love meant either being spoiled, by your mother, or she didn't spoil me all the time, but when she did, it's kind of my mother's way of showing me that she loved me. I don't want to put this on them. It's just that I don't think they knew. It's turtles all the way down for everybody. Whatever you're guilty of, or whatever your sins are, or whatever, I guarantee your parents had it too. So it's just turtles all the way down. We carry a lot more than just, the shape of our bodies or a height, or if we go bald. We carry a lot more from our parents than they tell us. So I believe that consciousness and all that passes on too. But anyways, the reason I'm bringing all this up is, I don't know if anybody will ever listen to it. I really don't care. I do. I'd like to help if I can help somebody, but I'm trying to make this as short as I can. I'm probably going to have to cut it a few times, but I started thinking about this because my ex-wife has been on my mind a lot lately. And this happens every couple of years. Every couple of years, she pops into my head. I don't know why. Usually I don't know. It's like you see something and it just reminds you. I don't have any, I wish she would come back to me or anything like that. I do wish that I could talk to her every once in a while, but I messed that up. That's nobody's fault but my own. One of the silliest things about, trying to find your path spiritually or whatever, religion, whatever you're trying to do, is that if you're lucky, you get conviction. Not guilt, not shame, but conviction. You start to understand that when you say, I wish that didn't happen, it starts showing you why that happened. Things that you never wanted to admit. It's not my fault, it's her fault, and it's his fault, and it's their fault. That conviction shows you, no, that was actually your fault. But it's not like the old days, at least for me, where that conviction was guilt, and I would feel guilty, and I would drink myself, to sleep and all that to try to deal with it. I never faced it. That was my problem, and thankfully, these last couple of years, I've been able to face it. I thank the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. I thank every day. I thank myself for understanding what conviction is. I started to realize that, I've had a lot of relationships. I'm not a gigolo, but I've had my share of girlfriends, and since my marriage, and I've had some great people in my life that were a lot like my ex-wife, where they gave me all their love, and I told them I loved them, just like I told my ex-wife. But that's not true. It's true that I love them on a simple level. I love them on a conditional love. And some of those girlfriends were conditional loving too, but my ex-wife was, I know now, it took me all this time, to realize it, that my ex-wife loved me unconditionally until a point. And I've brought this up in a real talk, like, I hate to keep weighing on it, but it's not about me and my ex-wife. It's about love. It's about you out there not thinking that you know what love is, but you really don't have any idea, just like I did. It's not about me and her. It's about recognizing I've put myself in a situation where I try to see love through my eyes, but living through other people. I'm a very solitary guy. I have some great people in my life that I do love, and they want me to be more a part of their life, but I'm just very solitary. It's the way I've been for a long time. Some people have walked away from me, and maybe they'll never come back. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is that I'm very solitary in my way, and so I try to see it through other people, see it through my friends and the way they treat their children or the way they treat their spouse, or even just somebody I see at the mall, and sweethearts, people dating, stuff like that, couples holding hands, two animals, I watch that a lot. Two animals, just two mates for life, just swimming, two swans on a pond together for life, and I see it and I understand it. And I've talked about love before, and I've talked about unconditional love and how I don't honestly believe that there's any way that any one of us can really unconditionally love anybody the whole entire time. I used to think that nobody could unconditionally love another, but I was proven and shown through conviction and demonstration that that's not true. And I've witnessed it, but I don't know if it's everlasting. Like, I would say that my ex-wife loved me unconditionally to a point, and that's not her fault. I was the one that drove her to that point. So I'm the one that broke that and made it conditional. So I suppose it could be possible. I honestly think that if I had changed my way, she would have unconditionally loved me until the day we died. I really do believe that. I just believe that it doesn't even matter if you love something with conditions, because it's still a form of love. I mean, that's kind of debatable whether it's really love or not, if it's conditional. But I don't know. I mean, liking somebody is fine, whether it's liking them with conditions or without conditions. So if that's a plausibility, I don't see why, loving somebody with conditions is not a plausibility. Again, you can flame on in the comments or whoever ever listens to this. But we all say we love things. Like, you could say, oh, I love this damn cigarette right now, but I don't. I fucking hate this thing. And I hate myself for smoking it. But we haven't crossed that bridge yet. But we say that, we throw that word around a lot. We throw around the word love a lot. So whether or not you can love something conditionally or unconditionally, that's one thing. But the problem that you really want to address first is finding out whether you really, like, oh, I love my car. Yeah, you don't really love your car. Because if your car broke down tomorrow, boom, you'd hate your car, and then that would be a love with conditions. Loving material items it's very sketchy. It's very KRS-One, a famous rapper, famous to real rap listeners, would tell you that that word love is it's a dangerous word, and if you don't watch out, it'll get you. Because we go around, I love my car, I love my jewelry, I love this, I love that, I love it, but it's not love. That's just desire. That's just whatever. Anyways, I'm wandering. So I learned to realize that I've never learned to love anything. And so I've been sitting here for like the last week saying, well, I never, all those people that came after my ex-wife, like all the relationships I had, some of them were great people, great women, but I didn't give it my all. I thought I was giving, oh, I love you, but I didn't give it to them. That's why I'm not with any of them, Some of them were just flings, but the reason I came to this, and the reason I came to, like, whether I love friends or I loved, anything that I ever said I loved, I had to, like, sit down and, like, really go through everything this week and go, do I really love that? Do I really love her or him? Or, and if what I'm trying to get to is trying to tell you is that you have to sit down with this, and you have to understand, are you loving somebody with somebody or something with conditions? And if you are, go through those conditions. And if you find out that you can't get around those conditions, you have to seriously look at that relationship. You know, I love that guy, but man, when he drinks, condition. Man, I love her, but she's always complaining about this and that, condition. Maybe I love my sister, but she doesn't know how to cook. Not my sister. She cooks really good. I'm going to tell you what unconditional love is. Unconditional love is a person who, at the age of 17, runs away from home to come be with her boyfriend in New Hampshire. She's disowned from her family. Her family was religious. They disown her. She comes and stays with her boyfriend in a small apartment in New Hampshire because her boyfriend has been banned from the state of Massachusetts. Believe it or not, it is actually possible. Within a year, they're married. And he's worthless. All he ever knew was how to scam and scheme and to get by. Never held a solid job throughout his teenage years, and early adulthood wasn't any better. But she went to work. She did what she had to do to make sure that both of them could survive. He didn't care. He just wanted to make sure he had cigarette money and beer money and gas money to use her car and drive it all over God's green earth, because that's all he was used to. He was used to conditional love. He was used to being enabled. And she continued to enable him. And that wasn't her fault. It was what she believed in. She believed in unconditional love. Her religious background, she believed in marriage. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with believing in marriage. And I can't think of the word, the sanctity of marriage. There's nothing wrong with that. I wish I had known this then, but I didn't. And so years go by, and she still sticks with him. He leaves a couple of times. Like literally gets up and just says, "Oh, I'm leaving you." Just disappears. She's got to pay for the rent, all that. At one point, she can't afford the rent. She has to actually move in with a neighbor's family. You know, she had to move in with the upstairs neighbor's family because she had no other. Her parents wouldn't take her back. Her boyfriend was, Lord knows where. I know where I was, but. And so she had to make do. And she always made do. Always. And then every time he would come back, she would take him back. Unconditionally. She didn't care. And she did this for more than 14 years, 13 years. This is how bad her boyfriend and then husband is that he doesn't even remember how long they were married for. I treated her like she was property. I loved her in the beginning. I think I did. I think that's the only time I ever knew love. But as our relationship grew and our marriage grew, I despised her. I don't know why. I often wonder about that. She never did anything to deserve it. I think I despised her because, this is my story and what I'm sticking with, but I despised her because she was good. And I wasn't. She was love and I was hatred. I won't sit here and blame it on mental disorders or anything like that. Sure, I was depressed, but I was filled with hatred because I never grasped what love was and how much more love is important and more, in my opinion, more powerful than hatred. I honestly believe that nothing else on this planet matters in this reality, whatever the hell you want to call it. Nothing else matters but love. Whether there's a heaven or a hell, or we just all die at the end and there's just empty space, or whether this is all fake, it doesn't matter. I still believe that a perimeter, a condition set on this experience is love. I believe hatred is a part of it too. I believe in polar opposites for everything. Now, whether those polar opposites are equal, I don't know. Most would say that they are. But I do know that I hated more than I ever loved. I hated her. I hated myself. I hated my family. I hated my friends. I hated you. I hated everything about this experience. And no matter what I did, she just kept on offering love. chances and repeated chances over and over again for love, for the sanctity of marriage and love, all the way up to the very end, all the way up to the very end. And I won't even tell you how evil I got towards the end, but I never understood what love was. And I sure as F don't really know what it is now either. I'm getting a grip on it. And if I can understand it, maybe not give it, because I don't know if I'm capable of giving it correctly. Not until I learn lessons. And I believe that's what I'm learning now. But at 51, I don't know if I have much more time to give out love. I mean, I still, like I said, I still have people in my life. I love my listeners. I love my friends and family that are in my life. I do love them. Some conditionally. I'd like to think I love my sister unconditionally, but I love her with conditions. I love everybody with conditions. I'm lying if I say otherwise. I think the only thing I ever loved unconditionally was my dog. But even Grace, sometimes, if I didn't give her the right cookie, she would bitch about it. So I guess that was a condition. I never understood. And again, it wasn't my parents' fault. It was nobody's fault but my own. Just like you can't blame anybody if you feel the same way. You can say, well, your parents didn't teach you or somebody else didn't teach you or whatever. So yeah, you could say, well, maybe it's a little bit of their fault, but I think it's all of our own responsibility, whether you believe in free will or not, that if you say to somebody, hey, I love you, you have to understand the power behind that, behind those words. And if you don't, if you're being ignorant to that, just so you can get something out of it, then that's on you. And I speak from experience because I used it loosely a lot. Here I am 15 years after my divorce, maybe, 15 years, I think 16 years. See, I don't know how long we were married, I don't know how long we've been divorced. But here I am now just learning to love. So if by any slim chance there's anybody out there that's young especially, and you hear this, and you use those words, but you don't exactly know how you feel, please, I beg you to try to find out, try to understand if it's really what it is. Because sometimes when you throw that word around, you're going to burn bridges that you're never going to be able to build again. You may think of your life, your experience as an island with many bridges, and eventually, if you don't be careful, you're going to burn all those bridges and you're going to be stuck on that island by yourself. I think I might have a bridge left. Maybe. Might be rickety. Might be falling apart. But I think there might be possibly a way I could still get off this island. But I won't tell you how many bridges I burned in the process. And so I make this message for that one person that's just wondering. You got to sit down and you got to ask yourself, do I love them conditionally? Do I love them only because they give to me or they enable me or because it's convenient or because, usually if it's a condition, it's enabling. Usually you say it to a girl or a boy or whatever because you want something out of that, and you gotta face that. And by the way, I haven't even got onto the part about where you have to start with all this. Where you have to start with all this is finding out whether or not you truly love yourself. Because if there's one thing I have learned over all these years, and something that I put off all these years, all these decades that I just kept on putting off, was that you cannot love anybody else until you love yourself. And so that's why I wonder if I'll be stuck on this island forever, because I just don't know if I can learn to do that. I feel that I've been more in touch with loving myself, but I haven't forgiven myself completely. And I still wear quite a mask, even to myself. I wear a mask around the people that I know, and I also wear a mask with myself. And there's nothing like wearing a mask and looking in the mirror and realizing you're looking through a mask, but you deny it. You lie to yourself. But if you don't learn to love yourself, or at least understand what that means, you'll never be able to love another. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion, and I'm a nobody. But I believe universe, higher self, whatever you want to call it, whatever special word, label you want to put on it. I like to call it my instinct, my intuition, my gut feeling is that you can't do it until you figure out, if you love yourself. So if you pray, or if you ask the universe, or if you're just an atheist and you just don't say anything, but think to yourself, ask for this, ask for conviction, ask for quiet thoughts, pray and be humbled. I say it a lot that this is all chaos, all of it. This experience is chaos, no matter what kind of experience you're living in, whether you're well off or you're dirt broke or you've been hurt or you're the one that hurts others or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all chaos. The only thing you can do is be kind, be thankful, and just let it humble you, because it definitely has humbled me. And I wish that I let it do that 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, but I didn't. And there's nothing I can do about that now. But I'm so thankful that I've been given the option, whether this is towards the end of my life or not. I've been given that option. Allow it to humble you and realize where you are and how you can start fixing things. Because the only person in my entire 51 years that I could talk to about anything, that I could express or feel or understand what it means to love somebody, I lost that because I wasn't willing to do this work earlier. I don't want you to feel that way. Some of you will, some of you won't, but beg, ask, pray for conviction, for understanding, for wisdom, not wisdom of the world, not wisdom on how to be a better Buddhist or how to be a better Christian or how to be better at this or make more money. Wisdom to know yourself, to know your experience, to understand, even if it means going back and digging through the pain and the suffering. Ask for that, because it is the greatest gift next to love. I've spent the majority of my life hating myself, everything about me, from my height to the way I look, the way I talk, the way I act, before and even currently. And it's a struggle to get over it, but I'm going to keep trying. Even if I don't get it all right this time, and even if there isn't a next time, I'm trying. And you need to do the same thing, because you don't have to be left alone on that island. Instead of doing what I did, walking around the island looking for others that you could mooch off of or live off of or take advantage of, find a quiet spot on that island and ask yourself, why do you do that? Why do I feel like that's the only way? This is super long, and I didn't really write any of this down or anything. I probably should have, because I probably didn't make anything clear, but I just wanted to make it because if there's anybody else out there, like I said, whether I put this on a YouTube channel or somebody just finds it when I'm dead one day, or nobody ever listens to it ever, maybe some aliens do, I don't know. But I make these because I feel like maybe there's somebody. I don't know if it's on YouTube, then anybody that's listening to it, if you're listening this far, thank you. But this channel was not about, making YouTube money or trying to get likes and all that. It's about if I can help one other brother or sister. And maybe I do that out of, pride, or maybe there's ego involved. I don't really know. I don't really care. But I do it because I didn't grow up in an age where we had YouTube videos and stuff. And maybe I could have learned about love. And, I often, when I read a book or I watch a YouTube video, I go, God, man, if I had only seen or heard or read this like 20 years ago, but I didn't. And that's the experience. And there's a lot of you that are growing up in this information age that still don't know what's out there. I see it all the time where I still have young people ask me, hey, how do you do this? I'm like, dude, you've got the whole world at your fingertips. Literally ask the phone, it will tell you. But I don't really know. I don't really know how the rest of this experience will go for me or for any of you. I don't really know if, we'll annihilate each other out of existence, or, but instead of worrying about all that stuff, there's no control. You don't have no control of that. You have no control whether bombs start falling or an asteroid comes out of nowhere, or another pandemic hits, or, the Epstein files come out, or any of that stuff. You have no control over it, so don't worry about it. You can get hit by a bus tomorrow. You're sitting there worrying about what's going to fall out of the sky, but you don't see the bus coming. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Worry about trying to figure out who you are. Your experience. Doesn't matter if you're one of the simulation people. I'm a simulation guy. It doesn't matter if you believe it's simulation or it's all fake and it's just your mind. It doesn't matter. You still need to figure this out. It's kind of why I dropped out of the whole spiritual woo-woo scene, because too many differing opinions. And I came to realize that the only opinion that really mattered was mine. So even though everything I've said tonight is my opinion, it may not matter to you, but if it resonates, it resonates. I never ask anybody to take my opinion as their own. But the thing is, too, is a lot of people go around their whole lives thinking, well, I'm going with my gut. I'm going with my own opinion, my own advice. And the thing is, you didn't look enough into it. And because I didn't. But the first time I ever said that I'm going to go with my instinct or my gut or anything like that, or my own opinion. I've been saying it all my life, but the thing was I didn't understand before and I hated myself, so my opinion was just wrong, My opinion back then was, oh, it's her fault, it's their fault, it's not my fault. It's my fault. It was all my fault. All of it. Every single time I stepped out that door, whether I went to a bar late at night all night long and left her at home, or when I was cheating, or when I had a child with another woman, yeah, I'm not perfect. I'm just as bad, if not worse, than most of you. But I never sat down and just thought about it. I just kept doing it. And so if you're like me, or how I was then, and you're listening to this, brother or sister, sit down and think about it. Anyways, I love you all. That might be conditional, whether you like the videos or not. But understand what the word is. Look at how you use it, where you use it, and ask yourself, is it real? Because the other thing is, real quick, is that I have friends and family and even myself where I've been in relationships or friendships even, and I've said I've loved somebody because they said they loved me. And I didn't want to hurt their feelings, but all you're doing is making it worse for them and for yourself. If you lie to yourself, or even if they don't love you as much or whatever, but you just lie to make it look good, you're just hurting yourself and you're hurting everybody involved. And I never learned that. I didn't learn that. I'm still stuck on the island. It's a very strong word. It's not even a word. There's no way to explain what love is except for a label, the word love or amore or whatever. There's no real way to explain it, but we all know what it is. Even the most hardcore guys I know what love is. I see them with their children. It's the only thing that's real. Well, like I said, it's one of the only things that's real. It's got its polarity, and in reality, hatred isn't its polar opposite. Fear is its polar opposite. A lot of people get that confused, especially in the woo-woo community. Everybody talks about hatred and blah, blah, but fear is what drives hatred. Excuse me. The only reason why people hate things is because they fear it, because it's unknown. They have no idea what about it, so they hate it. I hate immigrants because I'm too ignorant to understand what my fear would be about immigrants from another country, so I just instead label it that I hate them. I hate this team because blah, 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 whatever it may be, it's just built off fear. You hate that team because you're afraid they're going to beat your team. And if they're a non-New England or Boston team, they're probably going to get beat because that's just the way it is, folks. So you can hate on the Red Sox all you want. Anyways, find out if you're loving things because of fear. That's a big one right there. Find out, do I love this person or do I love this thing or whatever it may be because I fear losing it? And why do you fear losing it? Because I believe that's what my ex-wife believed. I believe she feared that she was going to fail somehow if she had left me earlier. And so she put up with all that stuff, folks. All those years, a decade, more than a decade. Because she feared that she was either going to let her family down, let me down, let herself down, something. And then thankfully, one day, that fear subsided. Thankfully, I imagine she had this discussion that I'm telling you to have. She had it with herself, and she realized that that fear was made up. And she didn't go to hatred. There was parts of me, that things that I did, that she definitely hated. And I was told that she hated me more than once. But I don't believe it. To this day, I don't believe it. I haven't talked to her in over 14 years, but I don't think, if I was on the side of the road dying, I think she would still stop, because that's the kind of person she is. But she feared it. It wasn't that she feared me, it was that she feared failing. And that's why a lot of us do that. We say we love something because we're afraid we're going to fail if we don't. Look at that. Look at yourself. Look at the love that you have for yourself. Start there and go on. Understand your fears. When it comes to something like this, I'm often reminded of the song House of the Rising Sun. And one line, my favorite version is the Johnny Cash version, and he says, "Mothers, don't allow your children to spend their lives in sin and misery like I did." And that's why I'm offering this message. I can't stop you from sinning, whatever sin is to you. But if this message at all helps you from the misery, it was worth all 40 minutes. I love you all. Walk in light.